Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, and this is going to be your Tuesday video report, 67, 51, and 3 run with my complimentary plays. Past 15 weeks, although Mondays didn't pan out as Duquesne failed to get the job done as a 1-point road favorite, losing outright at Oregon by 2. However, tonight, looking in the NITs at Kent State and Colorado, and in the NBA at the Bulls and the Hawks. I'm going to get to those free picks in just a moment. Just want to relate a funny, what I think is a funny story. Hopefully you will as well. My son was asking me yesterday about, when I used to be a reporter, any interesting, funny things ever happened to me outside of just covering games and all that stuff. And, well, I got a lot of those stories, but most of them are not for public consumption for one reason or another. Maybe in private, if I meet you at a bar, I'll tell you some of them sometimes. Certainly not going to tell my son those. But one story that always struck out to me after all these years, and let me get there by telling you a quick story from my childhood. So when I was like, probably 8 years old, I remember Saturday mornings with my dad watching wrestling and roller derby, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday mornings at a UHF station in Philadelphia. People were going, what's a UHF station? But those are the days, black and white TV, rabbit ears, I think. I mean, hoping this channel would come in after you tuned it in. That's how hard it was to get. I became ultimately a much bigger roller derby fan. Jim Trotter, Judy Arnold, Sally Vega, the Philadelphia... I can't remember what the Philadelphia Warriors, that's who they were named. They were Philadelphia Warriors, I think, was the roller derby team. I was a big fan until I was about 10. But wrestling, that was something. So I'll never forget one time watching this wrestling match. And those were the days, I think it was Andre the Giant was just coming up. You had Bruno Sammartino, you had Chief Jay Strongbow. Used to come in with his Indian headdress and stuff like that. And I'll never forget watching it this one Saturday morning. And I think it was Chief Jay Strongbow. He's in there, and his opponent whacks him over the head. Right, like over the head, in the face, with a chair from the audience. And you see him go down, and immediately you hear the announcers start talking about the blood is just gushing from his face. But you don't see anything, because the minute he hits the ground, hits the mat, all of a sudden you see this white screen with a big black X coming through on your TV screen, and it said, censored. And then the announcers just talked about the horror of it all, the blood that was gushing out from him, the cheap shot that he just absorbed, how the medics and doctors, when they're trying to care for him, and it was such a critical condition. When you're 8 years old, you're going, damn, this is good. Why can't they show this to me on TV? All you saw for like 3 or 4 minutes was this big X censored on the screen. Fast forward to... my first job in television was working in the production side rather than on TV. So I type like 140 some words a minute. I always have, always been fast. Typing back in the years when I went to high school, it was a great way to meet a lot of girls. Great way. Because, when you're one of 2 guys, 3 guys in a typing class, knowing that you're going to go in journalism class, all the rest of them were good-looking girls, great way to meet women. So I took my lessons and learned them well. So anyway, when I happen to have this job, when they enter the graphics for whether it's a TV production or an in-house production that they're running, at the time I was working at the Spectrum, and they had a big wrestling match on Saturday night. Knowing how fast I type, they immediately, they always asked me to enter all the stuff in quickly into what they call a Chiron machine back in the day. So I'm entering it all in there and stuff, and I get done all the stuff, and it was sort of a big wrestling match. There was like 15 matches that night, and I'm typing on all the winners because you're going to see it up on the video display boards in the arena that night. So I'm leaving the production facility, and I run into a basketball player, a pretty well-known basketball player who was there with his kids early. He was going to the wrestling match that night. Now, I'd seen him in previous times. We chit-chatted in locker rooms and stuff like that. He asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, I was just doing some production work. I was entering all the wrestling results in for tonight. And he looked at me, and he said, you have the results for tonight? I mean, it was like one of those surreal moments, because it dawned on me just like that. It's like, this guy doesn't know that this is all choreographed? This is a professional athlete. Are you kidding me? And I thought, is he covering for his kids? No, I mean, that just blew my mind. And I thought, did anybody else think that this is like 100% real? I don't know. But anyway, that's one of the funnier stories I've had. Some of the other bluer stories we may get to in some other video reports. Let's get to the free pick. First one is going to be Colorado minus 10 at home against Kent State at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Why is Colorado laying so many points? Well, let me punch up my map behind me here on the computer. Oh, I'm sorry. They didn't put the blue screen in my office. Damn, what a cheap company. Okay, we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Kent, over here, okay? Ohio area. Over here, you've got Kent. A week ago today, March 15th, Kent went to California, down here, and played St. Mary's. Rallied from 12 points down and won 71-70 as an 11.5-point road underdog. Then, that was last Wednesday, Kent, I don't know if they went back to Ohio, but I know one thing. Then Kent was suddenly up here in Connecticut. There's my hand, that's Connecticut. I think I was going towards Maine for a minute. Over in Connecticut on Sunday, where they beat a good Fairfield team 72-68. Now, that was Sunday. Today is Tuesday. Isn't this what an educational experience for you too? So, now, where are they going? They're going to Boulder, Colorado. That's over here. Boulder, Colorado. High air, thin altitude. Make that high altitude, thin air. See? You go to Boulder, Colorado, and these are the problems you experience, right? It wears you out. You feel like your lungs are going to explode, and you can't even think straight. That's a lot of traveling for Kent State, and it reminds me of what happened at Dayton last week when I went against them. Now the Flyers, of course, were playing their 4th road game in 5 days, and they lost outright at College of Charleston that night. I took the Cougars, and I think the same fate is going to befall Kent State here tonight. I mean, that is just a brutal traveling schedule. Home base, California, Connecticut, Colorado, thin air. I think they go down here tonight. Plus, Colorado's been playing some great ball. 5-1 their last 6 straight up. The lone loss coming by 7 to Kansas in the Big 12 tournament. 10-4 and 1 ATS at home this year. I know Kent State, last 18 games, they have not lost by more than 7 in any of them. I think the line makers are trying to tell you something here tonight. Go ahead and don't be scared and lay it with the Buffaloes minus 10 points as Kent fades in the second half. The other game, I was going to use this as a paid pick tonight, okay? But instead I decided to go in college with the San Francisco-Santa Clara game. It's going to be the Chicago Bulls minus the 4.5. It was 4. It's like 4.5 most places right now at Atlanta. And it wouldn't surprise me to see the public get on the Bulls here, pushing this one to 5 or 5.5 by game time for a couple of reasons. First of all, the Hawks have lost 6 of their last 9 games. This before beating the Detroit Pistons in their last home game by 8 points. They lost at home last week by 21 to Miami, and by 15, I think it was, to the Denver Nuggets last Monday, game which I gave you the Nuggets here on as a free pick. Now, Chicago well remembers what happens the last time they went to Phillips Arena, where they have lost 6 straight games, FYI. They blew a 19-point lead and lost that game 83-60 earlier this month. Now, true, about a week ago, they hammered Atlanta in the return engagement at the United Center, 94-76, a game in which they out-rebounded the Hawks 56-28, even though Carlos Boozer was out that game with injury. Now, Boozer returned to action last night with 16 points in a blowout. 132-92 is a 15.5-point home chalk for the Bulls against the Sacramento Kings. Remember, the Bulls and the Celtics. One of the reasons I took the Celtics last night as a paid pick against the New York Knicks, because these two are deadlocked for the top spot in the Eastern Conference playoff seedings. Miami Heat breathing down their neck, 2.5 games back. So I'll go with the Chicago Bulls here this evening, even though I'm a little worried about where this point spread is going to go, and that will be your other free pick. Final thing, I'm just going to bring this up in the closing minute. When I work in my office, I never have ESPN on in the background. It's kind of like, working in the candy store and you don't want to eat any of the chocolate. You get tired of it. So I have whatever movie channel is on playing in the background. Last night it happened to be Homebox, and Old School was on for the 100th time. And it's one of those movies that you can catch it at the beginning, the middle, and it doesn't matter. There's just, there's a funny scene, a funny line coming up, and you just watch it over and over again. And I thought, wow, if you had to be stranded on a desert island, this is what's going to challenge you today. Think about this. Stranded on a desert island, 4 movies, comedy movies that you can take with you that have that same timeless feature that you can watch over and over again. And to me, I thought no-brainer. Caddyshack would be one of them. Old School would be another. Going a little old school with Rodney Dangerfield from the 80s and Back to School. And then I had to find the 4th movie. Hangover, everybody loves a hangover. It was a one-and-done movie for me. I mean, Superbad a couple years ago, funny, but a little sophomoric. Slacker movies. Anything by Kevin Smith, including Mallrats, Harold and Kumar, Go to White Castle, Pineapple Express, they're all up there. Then I thought some of the classics, Blazing Saddles, Animal House from '78, Airplane, Ferris Bueller, anything with Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore maybe. Finally, it came down to 2 movies, Groundhog Day and Wayne's World. And I went with Wayne's World because, you just can't, I just don't think you can beat that movie. So, those are my 4. Wayne's World, Caddyshack, Old School, Back to School. What are yours? Good luck, everybody. Catch you again on Wednesday.